Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Sesso here, bringing you guys to the video here today, bringing you guys a Illustrator tutorial how to create your own cool line work mascot design. And yes, I can tell that we, or you, can see me. So, I don't know, I wanted to do a little test pilot thing of if you guys would like me to do webcam videos. I live stream and whatnot, so seeing me is not a big difference, I guess, if you seen my live streams, but I guess we gotta get all the comments out now. Sesso, you're not white. Sesso, you're black and Puerto Rican. Yeah, I know. Alright, so, now that it's all out, and at least I'll have this video be the one that you guys keep saying it on, because I know it's gonna be a thing, but whatever, right? Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna be doing line work in today's video here today. So basically, you guys love the whole mascot tutorials, you guys love the logo tutorials, so I was telling you guys, I've been really working hard on, I guess, bettering myself in the mascot designs, right? And so basically, I wanted to teach you guys what line work happens to be. So this is what I would say that is line work, right? So I like to think of line work, I like to think of it as a digital, sketch, right? Or I would say a final digital sketch, but as well as this being the foundation of your actual logo design. So in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to make one using this picture here that I got off of reference, as I just typed in eagle. And if you guys would like to, I would say if you're going to use reference, I mean, you're probably going to need some kind of reference. Try to use at least 3 or 4 pictures or so. Me personally, I'll use more than 3 or 4, like I said just now. But yeah, whatever works for you guys, just make sure you guys understand that you shouldn't just take a picture on its own. Unless you can really make it different, I would say really get at least 3 reference pictures to study from. So I'm gonna teach you guys to do this cool little stuff here. Yeah, by the way, this angle here, right? This angle here, or what if we did this angle here? I might leave it on this angle here for today's video, at least, right there, right? You guys will let me know. So let's go get this thing going. Let's hop right into it, and yeah, let me know. Leave a like in the video if you guys want the whole webcam thing to stay. It's kind of weird. I'm looking here, but I should be looking here. But yeah, we'll get used to it. All right. So 1 second. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and get this thing going. So basically, when I had actually exampled this, or I kind of illustrated this, or sort of did a tutorial on this before, I did this tutorial on a little line mascot, right? So I did this on sort of showing you guys how to sort of make a stroke, how to make the I guess in the sense of line work, but I really wasn't and fully understand what line work actually happens to be. So how I like to go ahead and describe this, I'm going to do a digital sketch, right? I already have one here, just so I knew that I at least can sketch a little bit on the computer, but because I don't actually have a tablet I'm just using my mouse. But I also have a regular sketch I'm going to be taking a picture of and then moving it back over into Illustrator. That way you guys can sort of see me at least with an actual sketch as well. But for the most part, I want to show you guys exactly how I look at how I look at things and how you should be looking at them as well, right? At least in my opinion, right? This is my technique, so yeah. Let's go ahead and just change the color really quick to a yellow greenish color. So, right. So, right away, I would tell you, right away, it's trying to figure out where you want this head shape to be. Of course, you can do more than just a head and a mascot. However, you can really just sort of see, you can almost see a cutoff. You can see and imagine where you feel the logo would stop at. For me, it would stop around somewhere here, right? So the first thing I would do is I would sketch out the outline heading of this actual animal here. Now, of course, I'm just using one reference picture. You should be using more than one at least. However, I'm going to go ahead and just sort of sketch out little things like this. Also, make interest that you see things right here where there's feathers, or is whatever it might be. It might not be feathers, it might be fur, something like that. But kind of pay attention to where the sort of maybe indentions, or rather you can call them, I don't know, I guess lines. You can see these lines here. You see how it goes in then comes back out. Try to draw that yourself in the sketch, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and keep doing this. I'll say something like this, right? And ooh, I can see I bet a better spot to cut off might be right here, right? You see right here almost, or even if I go down to here and sort of bring it up, right? And of course right here, try to bring it up right there. And of course we'll just outline the beak to something like this. Now, basically, right away, you already get the shape of an eagle's head. This is automatically, you're already getting the idea of where this mascot is going to be going at. But there's more than just one shape. I've explained this before, there's 3 or so shapes you can actually create your mascot into. However, there's more than just that, correct? Right? You can sort of see right away, you got to at least somewhat draw out this beak here, right? Let's go ahead and just draw out this beak. And now this beak is one shape, and now this head is one shape, or at least the inside of his head is one shape here as well, right? So right away I can see another line right here. I can see another line seeing maybe right here. See this line right here? I feel this line right here can be something else, as well as you can also look at this little eagle picture here, and you can see the 2 tones of color that it kind of has as well. So if you guys want to think about it when you're thinking about coloring your actual mascot design, you should sort of look at it in this kind of aspect. If I do something like this, let's say I don't know, something like that, right? Something of that matter. You can sort of see, I guess, almost like the line work itself creating itself, or in a way, I guess, I don't know how I would explain it. However, it's more or less you're sort of getting and capturing the lines, you're kind of capturing the expression of this eagle's face, and there's more than just this one eagle in the world, right? So you can always find different reference pictures. What I meant before is to find different expressions, different lines to go off of. Now, one thing as well I was to keep in mind is when you want to like focus on, I guess, capturing like something like the mouth, right? I would tell you immediately that using the line work is better than sort of like maybe imagining it as you have to actually pen tool out the mouth, pen tool out, give another color, something like that. Because sometimes the black spacing, and when I like think line work, right? Just imagine this is black. Let's just make this black for a second, just so I can get a better understanding. Like this is completely black, right? All this black space here is just basically filling in. It's almost like a coloring book after this. This is what line work is, basically like a coloring book as well, right? So I can find my shapes right here, his little beak here, and his eyes right here. So basically, it's like I'm doing the same exact thing right here as well. So right now, this isn't actually connected, but sometimes it doesn't have to always connect. Like you can always have fun with your lines themselves. So let's go back to this little beak here. Besides having like myself, I guess, pen tool out maybe like a line or something like that, right? When you do this, you see how kind of awkward that looks? So let's just for now reference that there's something right here, right? Let's like reference that there's something right there, right? That the mouth is going towards that way. And let's also reference that there's this little hole here, which happens to be his nose. And also, you see this line here? This is another one of these expression kind of, I guess you would say expression points or expression lines that you might want to follow and sort of give an example to when you actually sketch it yourself, right? So I would like do something like this. And like kind of have this be like, hey, this direction here, this is moving towards this beak that way, and that's another line. So if I uncheck this really quickly, you'll start to see more and more of the eagle. Now, reference, by the way, as well, like this is the digital sketch. Like I actually do have an actual sketch that I'll be showing you guys at the end, and be using this, correct, as the sketch I'm gonna be using for today's video. However, I'm following the same exact like mindset that I did on the actual paper, but in digital sketch form. So if I hop back into here, once you get sort of at this moment here, I'm not even gonna do like eye right now. I'm gonna skip that for a second. But what I'm gonna kind of like think of is right now, these are just lines. Don't think of them as like, don't think of these lines as the lines you're gonna be using to actually pen tool out, correct? So my lines here, let's imagine this, like this line right here that I'm creating right here, happen to be these lines that happen to be like right in here. Like these lines, I can't see, like right in here. Like besides this outline stroke, oh god, that's so awkward. That outline stroke, but like think of the lines that are inside here, that's the actual line I'm creating right here. So that is not our stroke line. So basically what you want to have to do is with your sketch, I would really honestly recommend that you actually sketch out the thickness of the lines in your line work, which happen to be your strokes as well, right? So beforehand, I used to like say to yourself, let's take this like this shape here. If we had all these shapes like combined and whatnot, and you would turn on, let's just pretend really quick that this was like a head, right? Besides having this line here, and then you would basically, maybe this might be what you do, or maybe it's not what you do, but I see a lot of people who do this, right? They turn off this stroke or whatever. They usually have like a color filled in, and then they go, all right, let's turn on the stroke. Let's make it a separate color, like a nice black or something like that, right? Because it's a darker shade to, like, I guess, give it that vibe that it's a stroke line. And they would go into the stroke path and they'll make it bigger, right? They'll put on the outside. And this is how people would do their strokes for their mascot designs. Now, this gives it no creativity. It gives it no, like, how do you say? It doesn't give it any character as well. So what I would definitely suggest you to do is do that outline stroke and have that all combined be the line work. So an example as well, just so I can make sure I keep, helping you understand as like the most I can. This line here as well happens to be this line right here. Like this line, like imagine this wasn't here. Let's just pretend, let me just turn this off for a second. Maybe this will help. Right, these lines right here are all what this is. Without this stroke, you see how awkward and weird it looks? It's because you don't have it, there's no really like character going on here. So what I would do is once you're done with your lines, make sure you make a stroke. And basically never go on the inside because you kind of will lose the head shape of the character that you're working with, the animal that you're working with, whatever you're working with, because I find doing that like really messes me up. So what I would definitely tell you to do is not go on the inside and make this stroke, right? I would definitely suggest that you would, let's go ahead and like turn this off and let's use a different color for the sake of just knowing, right? And we'll like make this a little more thicker. So let's just say this line here, my yellow line is going to be like my stroke line here. So I'm going to go like something like this. Right, we'll kind of give it like a nice, good thickness to it. And then as well as when you do this, you don't even have to be completely even with it. Like before I used to be like, make it super even, make it super even, make it super even. But that was because I kind of mixed up the line work and a stroke I mix those two up. So I would definitely suggest that you can like really work with the distance between that you're working with. Like if I wanted to go out more this way and I get really skinny in here and then work in here, right? And then do something like this. Really awkward with a mouse, but good thing the sketch is okay. All right. Something like that, right? And we go around. Now, when you think of this now, is this line, these lines here, or when I'm gonna fill this in, like this negative space that's in here, if I were to fill this in with my my mouse all the way around, let's just quickly go ahead and do that. For the sake of just like pretend that this is actually like a black line now. Let's, I'll just make it actually black, that way you can understand a little better. But let's pretend, right, this is all filled, and you do this all in your sketch. You fill this all in with your pen or whatever you're going to be using. You can use a marker. Usually I would say use a marker, but for this sake, I actually just used a regular pen. A pencil, excuse me, and I just colored it all in. But let's say if you color this entire thing in, now we imagine that this right here, hold on, let's make this black. Let's make this black. There we go. Let's imagine that these, like these two things, like combined, this is fully black, that this would actually then be your line. Right? That is what you gotta like sort of understand. So basically what I mean is, besides you thinking this as a stroke, this is actually your line. So what happens here is you're gonna actually be working on line work, right? So there are gonna be things you have to do as well. You're gonna have to go back into each shape that you created. Right now I only created about 2 shapes, which happen to be the head and the beak. So basically what I would do is I would find the beak shape right here and also make a stroke that goes all the way around. So something like this. Now let's do something like that. And then of course with your pencil, you would fill this in as well. Right? So once you fill this in, you sort of get this look as well here. This pencil mark here happens to be where the beak is, correct? So like, as you can see, I just sort of like went around where the beak shape was, and then made another stroke there, and then of course filled it in with my pencil. That way I can see that that is my line that I'm gonna be working with. Same thing with this right here. This line right here happened to be that little line that we just want to put a little accent in to sort of separate the two colors of the eagle's fur. So basically what you would do here again, go ahead and do something like that, right? And then sort of do something like this, and there we go, right? And then you fill this in with your pencil, and let's just fill it in with our handy dandy like brush. But you can start to understand a little bit of where this direction is going. So if you're to be doing this on paper, I wish I would be doing it on paper. However, I just feel like it's a lot easier to me to understand and kind of see it, you know, behind this picture as well here. You can start to see that this, like these lines right here that are squiggly, imagine they're filled in completely. This is what basically line work is all about, correct? And I haven't do the eye yet. So basically what I would like to do for the eye, I would say normally do not try to change the color of the eye or the shape of the eye, but for this sake we're just gonna do something like this. And for my eye that I did over here in this like this owl here, I ended up just doing like sort of all black and then having color being in this area right here, right? If I just quickly show you guys that. Having color be in this area, leaving this entire thing black, and having the pupil, like the little eye, and be like a little bit of white, right? So I'm gonna do the same exact thing exactly here. So I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna make sure I fill this in, or even on my sketch I actually put in like fill in. Like on my sketch, on the eye part, I put the word, I believe it was, yeah, make that black as well, and also with the arrow. So that way I don't have to like sketch it out, and if I ever want to redo the sketch, I don't have to like redo the eye, because usually the eye is the one part I do a lot of times. So I'm gonna go ahead and like fill this all in and make sure that this is all gonna be black, and then maybe this inside is here is gonna be black as well. But then right in like this sort of section right here is where there's gonna be a pupil, right? It's kind of hard to imagine, but it's a lot better if you were to have it on paper, right? However, this sort of understands that you can start seeing this odd little like owl in here, or excuse me, not the owl, the little eagle in here, correct? So obviously this eye is a little awkward, but let's just pretend we don't need all these lines here for now. Let's just go ahead and just leave it very simple and blank, because I don't want to confuse so many people. Just something like that, very simple, right? That's where the eye goes. And at this moment in time, immediately you can already see where this owl, excuse me, I keep saying owl, but where this eagle is heading. So if I were to say, let's just quickly go ahead and fill this in with like a brush, right? Let me just fill this in with a bigger brush so that we can start to see it just a little bit more. All right, we'll take this and we'll fill this in with a better black brush. That way you can start to understand what I'm seeing. Because using a smaller brush probably wasn't, you know, too smart. But for the sake of at least showing you guys the best of my ability, allow me to fill this in with a better, thicker line. Let's see, there we go. Going around this beak here. Now this is what you'd be doing your marker or your pencil that you're gonna be using, right? And then let's just go ahead and fill this in over there. And then you can start to see what I meant by, right? So if I fill this in over here as well, where this is like the outline of the beak, correct? You can start to see these shapes here that are like forming. Same thing over here as well. And then this line here, this line here, this line here. You can already see that the eagle is basically already done for you. What happens next here is the fact that you have to make color and sort of pick your colors out. And of course, after the end of it, if you want to put another stroke around it like I did here, this is my stroke line right here, right? Or excuse me, my line work right here, this black. It's the same exact thing here. So if you want to put another stroke after this line work, that is where you would kind of think where your stroke would be. You can have it be the same exact ratios or line work extended as the outside line of this black line here, or you can just make it completely different and just have a nice little color on the outside as well. So basically, you can already see what's happening here, how this is working out for you. And if we were to just quickly like do something like that, is what I meant by doing this, is having the eye right, like something like that, right? And then having like a white little dot here to like indicate that this is where our little people, oops, let's shrink that down to like 6 for a second, that this is where like our little pupil line is going to go. That way you can start to see the eagle's eye. Now, automatically, I feel like I kind of expressed all the lines that are in this guy's eagles, or in this eagles or mascots or animal's face or whatever it happened to be, whatever you happen to be doing. But that is basically my little rendition of actually how I think about the line work when it comes to a mascot design. And I believe if your line work is complete, if your line work is really worked hard on, the entire project becomes 10 times easier, way easier to understand where to put your colors at, and way easier to understand, I guess, shapes in general. So hopefully this helps you guys a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and throw this picture that I have in here, this sketch, inside actual Illustrator and pencil it out and give you guys a finalization of what the line work will look like. So let's go and do it. Alright guys, so I threw in my sketch inside Illustrator, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how I'm going to pencil this thing out. Now let me also tell you guys, in this little sketch here, this doesn't have to be where you stop at. As you can see, my sketch here is, this is exactly, if you see this line right here, these like lines that are actually, you know, straight through here, is right here as well, like right here as well, is where I ended up actually extending some other points in here. So when I tell you guys to express your own, you know, I guess like, I guess your style, whatever, to your mascots, you can also extend a lot of these little points, like something like has like fur, or if you want to extend like anything really, honestly. But basically this is what I extended it myself. I extended like this point here, besides like having it just stop right here, because that right there even made my line work a little better, right? That made it not so like, I guess, formal and sort of, you know, making it my own. So if you want to find lines that you can extend yourself, it will really look really good in the ending, because like it's just some, you know, extra line work. So I'm going to go ahead and pen tool out the outline of this first. I'm going to pen tool out the outline of this right here first. I'm going to use my pen tool here. Now, for the sake of, I guess, you guys not knowing how to use the pen tool and having like really good curves and whatnot, I'm going to give you an incredibly quick rundown. So, of course, if you click once, that starts off exactly where your pen tool is going to start, of, I guess, starting your curve or starting wherever you need to start at, right? So this is my starting point right here. So if I click, and if I click again, right, it's going to make a straight line, and I won't be able to actually move it unless you, of course, went back in something like this where you had add anchor point. Then you would have to click, and then you have to go back over here again, and then go to anchor point tool, and then you have to click and drag it, right, to make some sort of like little, like, I guess, curve, and then move that point up using this tool right here, the direct selection tool, and then you get a little curve and whatnot. But you can also, like I said, go back to this little thing here, add it over here. But all that work, not worth it. Let me tell you guys exactly how to do it. You definitely want to go ahead and click once with the pen tool, right, start at your starting point, click and drag, and then immediately you have two extended points right here, these two extended anchor points that you can hold control on once you let go and whatnot. As soon as you have these two, like I said, as soon as you have these two things start extending, you can leave it as is, hold control, click on this extended point right here on this handle, and then move it in the direction that you need to move it in to follow the exact same angle that you had before. So I'm gonna, if I also, as you guys saw me do, if I wanted to click here, like you see this line how it goes this way, but as you see my pen tool is actually moving, I guess, on this line as well, because I have this little extended point here still there. If I were to try to click and move it like this, you get something like this, right? That's not exactly what I want. I want my point to stop exactly where I stopped at. So I'm gonna end up doing is holding Alt on my keyboard, clicking on that anchor point, and then clicking and dragging, and then doing something like this. That way, I get rid of that weird extended point, I get rid of that weird little curve that's going on there, and I get a nice little point where I stop at. So this is pretty much the exact same form I'm going to do the entire way around. Hold Control, move this thing here. We're going to hold Alt, click there. Hold, I guess, you know, click and drag, a nice little thing right there. Right here as well. Do same thing here. So basically, when it comes to like, I guess setting a fur, you're kind of probably gonna be doing something like this as well, or feathers. I just shouldn't say fur, feathers, right? I'm gonna be doing the same exact sort of like style of, you know, holding alt, clicking, stopping my anchor point, and then doing this entire thing all the way around. Now, what I also would like to suggest is that you turn off both your fill and your stroke, because if you turn on your fill right now, it's going to be a little hard to see where your lines go once you like start overlapping, right? Like I can't see exactly where I'm supposed to be going unless I were to make this opacity lowered, which you can do. You can press A on your keyboard, which gives you the direct selection tool. You can click on the shape itself, click opacity, right? And then drag it down. Then you can also see your color that you're gonna be using, and then also where your line is going. So if you don't want to do that, you don't have to, but I personally do not like to do that. I'd like to just turn everything off. That way I can just see my line alone, and I can continue just going what I was doing, right? So I'm gonna continue doing this. And let's go ahead and like do this nice little curve here. Hold control, open it back up. So you can literally open up any, like once you close the path, let's just close it really quickly. Once you close the path, right, you actually do not, you have the authority, I guess, to hold control, and then you can like hover over everything, like click and drag over everything, or you can hold control and like select where you think your line is, and then it'll bring the path back up for you. That way you can hold control and then click on an anchor point, and then you can move them freely. But I'm not gonna close mine just yet because I'm not actually done. But for the sake of just knowing, that is exactly how you do it, right? Now, right there is how I want to stop. Now, then I'm going to turn on my stroke path here. I'm going to turn my stroke path here and put a black line here. That way I can at least see, if I turn this off really quickly, my sketch, where, oops, that's not my sketch. Let's turn that off and also this off, right? You can start to see where my line actually happens to be, right? So if I turn this back on, I'll just say, all right, that's done and over with. Let's go ahead and do the last sort of shape I have. I actually have two shapes in here. I have this shape here, basically, right? This outline shape here. I have this one right here, right? Like, think about this as one whole shape, and then I have one shape in here as well. So technically, you're gonna be penciling out 3 shapes if you use this method here. So I'm gonna do this again. Use my pen tool, find this angle here, and then start doing this entire thing all over again. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do this nice and quick. Of course, you want to take your time on it and stuff like that, but I don't want to, you know, I don't want to like make it terrible, but I also don't want to, you know, have this time be incredibly long, because like I said, once again, once I do this technique with the feathers, I'm pretty much doing this entire way, like all the way through, honestly. Like this. Let's go over here and take whole control, move this up here, and then we'll move this over here, and then we'll drag like so. I think that little line right here, this little extended line, is gonna look really, really cool once I actually finish this off. But we'll see. If I have to fix it, I'll just have to fix it. But who knows? Maybe it looks good. First try. Let's see. Let's see here. We do this line. We do this shape here as well. This line here. And then something like this. Now, also, when you realize when you're penciling this stuff out, I would suggest that you sort of make sure you get your final kind of like, I guess, shapes or extended points, like lines like this here, because you have to do it all over again. Honestly, I would not suggest that you try to like click on the started path already or a finished shape and then sort of like try to pencil out like a line. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean. Hold on one second. Let me just finish this really quick, because that's also something that I see people do. Like, I'm gonna quickly just stop this right now really quickly, right? Let's pretend that like someone had like a line here, and let's pretend this is also like an actual shape and not a stroke for a second. Let's pretend, let's probably pretend really quick, right? I would not suggest that you say, all right, I kind of want this to be extended here. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my, you know, stroke path. I'm going to put on a thing here. I'm going to click like somewhere in the middle, like right here. I'm going to do something like this, like this. Like, I wouldn't suggest doing that a lot, because I see a lot of people who fail to sort of realize that they should start, if they're going to do something like this, start where the starting point is. So if you're going to do this, start exactly where the starting point is. That way, if you do mess around with this here, then you actually change the entire shape, and not like sort of guess and sort of like, because you might have a line that actually starts like right here, right? But then you might have like actually done something like this, right? And you start to get things like this right here, or let's say you had it too far up, you start to get things like that, and that does not look good. It is not going to help you guys in any way at all. But just make sure you guys do not do that as well. So I'm going to go back to my little line right here, and let's continue going, right? And let's just see what's going to happen here. Like so, like this. And then like this. I think that looks good right there. This point here I extended, so I like that, how that looks. Then we do that all the way over here. Something like this, something like this. Just like so. And then I believe we just connect it right there, and then I have one more shape, which happens to be the beak. So I'll start right here, do this, and then this line here. So like I said before, right, this line work is making this process way faster, way easier, and honestly, it's going to come out incredibly better because you actually have a direction, you know exactly what you're going to be doing, and overall, the concept is just going to look really good. I think that is basically it. So if I just hide this really quick, you can see our line work is basically done. Now, actually, is it really? Should I, like, also fill this shape in here? I'll do that later on. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all this stuff here. I just put a black line here so you can see at least where the shapes are. Usually I kind of turn them off. I really don't care for it right now because I don't have to see it really. But once you turn these, you can turn these on. Excuse me, turn the stroke off. Turn your fill on, correct? And if you use Shift M on your keyboard, that really quick little shortcut right there brings up the shape builder tool. You hold, after you press Shift M, you hold Alt, and you literally just click in these empty spots that we were talking about before. And basically, you guys have your line work to your animal here. Now you can start to see my failures to like kind of get like nice angles and such. But I was going fast, so this is where you kind of want to go into, kind of fix around where your points are. Like something like this, that kind of looks really weird. That looks better. Like things like this, want to fix it and put like right where the middle is. Things like right here is not terrible and whatnot. This actually does not look bad at all. There's nothing that looks terrible, honestly, but there's just like little fixes that you probably want to go into. Honestly, like figure out where you want to go to, or figure out how you want to like have like what line thickness you want to have. Like if you want to have this like be a little more thicker and have like a nice little transition there. This is like where you want to start experimenting, right? And I would definitely suggest that if once you do this kind of stuff, maybe pen tool it out one more time, right? And then there's no harm in like really getting that perfect like style that you want. Like right here, this looks okay. This little thing right here looks a little odd, so I'm gonna make sure I exaggerate that, and then make sure this is maybe like, you know, less of a curve right there. But yeah, things like this looks pretty good as it is right now. It's not terrible, it's not whatever. You kind of get the point that there's a shape here, there's a shape here, and now just for the sake of at least doing the eye part right here as well, let me show you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and just do a nice little dip here, right? And make sure that this is like my eye socket, right? This is where my eye socket's gonna be at. And also the way I do my little, I guess my little eyeballs, I would say, is I use the excuse me, not the rectangle tool. It's the ellipse tool, which is basically L on your keyboard. If you press L on your keyboard, it brings you the circle, and if you press O on your keyboard or M on your keyboard, it brings you the actual like a rectangle, right? So if you press M, it's a rectangle. If you press L, it's a circle, right? So that's your little quick shortcuts right there. So if I press L and I hold Alt and Shift, it's gonna click once and it's gonna bring me in my perfect little circle, right, just like so, right? It's a perfect little circle. Now what I'm gonna end up doing is I can do it right outside here because it doesn't really matter. I can just move it back into the eye socket. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna hold Alt and click and drag this out. It's gonna make a duplicate for me, and then I'll hold Control to bring up these little free transform box right here. Hold Shift and then shrink it down, right? It's gonna keep it in the same exact orientation. It's gonna be basically in the same exact, like, it's gonna be a perfect circle still, right? So I'm gonna click and move it like down around here, right? I'll say like right over here looks okay, right? Like somewhere around here. Then you want to highlight both of these, use the shape builder tool again, so Shift M on your keyboard, hold Alt, and then delete that right there. And if I just bring this in for a second, let's also say like right here. If I bring this in, let's just make this white for now. You can start to see where I'm going with this right here. However, my circle might have not been big enough. Like this circle that I actually cut out might have not been big enough. So I'm going to go ahead and probably just do it over again. But this is kind of like the way I would do it, right? I would sort of do something like this. Then let's try to like at least replicate something like this right here. For me, you can also pen tool it out. I also did pen tool that out, like the eye socket itself. Let's like shrink this down, but in the horizontal way this time maybe. And then do something like that, and then try to cut it out here. Maybe it'll look better, right? So once you find something like this, anyway, let's just pretend that this is our eye socket for now. I'm not gonna really go crazy on it or whatnot, but I'm gonna hold Shift and also click on that little eye socket like shape that it is made. Shift M again, hold Alt, delete that, and then I have my little negative space for my little eye socket as well there. Now my eye looks a little bit weird, and I would definitely tell you guys to like try to figure out the best place to kind of put your eye and whatnot. But also, as well, just for the sake of just showing you guys, you probably want to have like a nice little like eye, I guess, pupil or something like that, like right here as well, like something like that, right? So it doesn't look terrible, but that looks really awkward and weird. But for the sake of the tutorial, I'm going to leave it like that. But just know that there's something like that will look pretty cool. That's a pupil, right? And that's like the outside of his eye. So this is where you would start seeing yourself and saying, let's also go back again, like I said before. And then this right here is your line work. Right here, you can start to see the actual eagle shapes of his head and whatnot. You can start to see pretty much everything that you need to know. And then also it makes the coloring process 10 times easier. For the sake of just showing you guys really quickly, I'm gonna lock this layer here, but like, by the way, I know that it looks kind of weird in some spots here, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'm just gonna leave it as is. We're just gonna pretend that it doesn't look terrible, but it looks okay enough, right, to continue at least going. We're gonna lock this layer here. We're gonna call this line work, because that's exactly what this is. And we're gonna go ahead and make a new layer right below that line work. And then you kind of want to find a picture. I already have that picture, right? This is kind of like a nice little grayish tone, but I don't have to follow that exactly. But right where this new layer is, you just want to follow outside the line work here, right? We'll say like right here. Shoot, let me, I don't have to turn it off. Right there, it's pretty good. Now, if I double click on here, I can just make this, we'll just make this like, I don't know, like a really odd like tone like that for now, right? Right there, your beak is already kind of pen tooled out in a way because, or you can, obviously it's pen tooled out, but I mean like in the sense that you can see the shape of the actual beak is already there. So I'm the same exact thing. I'll make a new layer here and I'll just go ahead and go around again, around this like black line, or in between the black lines, not around it, but between these black lines here. Excuse me, where the shape should be, just like so. And we'll make this color, I don't know, we'll make it like an orange for now or something like that, right? We'll just make it like a nice little orange and whatnot. And then maybe this eye socket here, it should be like, let's just make it, what color is this eye socket, honestly? So then I have the color here, I can't really use my thing like not being outside here. It's almost like a yellow, honestly. So let's just go ahead and just make a new layer again. And then we'll go around the line work of the eye. Dude, my nose is super itchy. And we're gonna go ahead and just click over here, go on yellow, something like that. Right now we got yellow in there as well. Let's move this all the way out for now. Also, I forgot that little like I guess that little hole for the nose itself. So if I want to pen tool that in right really quickly, let's go ahead and do that. Where's my sketch at? Put that above here for a second. Let's just get that nose in there as well. We'll make that black, same exact as the line work. Move that up here, please, and thank you. Right, we're good. We can turn this off for a second, not this off for a second. Now we got our nose piece in there as well now. And pretty much I would say like right at this moment in time, you need to start working and thinking of how you're going to be doing shadows and stuff like that. But I kind of want to save like this whole part for like another video, maybe it's like something like that, like how to like shade your mascot, how to give some color in here, just for the sake of like making the focus on the line work itself. Now, also before I go, actually, I'm gonna suggest that the fact when you're actually done with your line work and stuff like this, right, don't make it pure black. I would say change the colors around, like something like almost like where this bluish tone black is. I use this a lot. If I were to click over here, this like little this owl here, you might have thought this was black, right? But this is not actually pure black. If I click over here, I click, where's the we'll just like hold alt, no, let's make a new layer, or unlock the layer, excuse me, go here, right, and we'll, all right, we'll just hold alt and just click on a brush or something. We'll just click on that color like just like that, just to show you guys the color. So you can see here, it's not actually black. It's like a nice bluish black tone. I'll just give you the hex code 121314. So if you guys want to use something like that, it might look really good for you as well. I would just not suggest to use black. And that way, sort of see like where your color should be at maybe. It might look a little bit better to you. It might look a little more uniform to you and not so like just pure solid saturation black colors and stuff like that. So honestly, I think we're pretty much done. We're going to get rid of this color for now though, because that kind of ruins it. But this is how you guys would do line work. Now, I'm going to also really quickly put this together really quick as well as make this a separate thing just for now. And we're also going to quickly go ahead and just merge it all together. And then what I would like to do is I would like to just lower the opacity down, lock it, and then I would go back in, pencil it over again, and find different shapes. So this is basically my tutorial for here today. It's a pretty long one, but it's also going to really help you guys. I honestly suggest like right here, like this right here, throws me off. I would kind of like pencil this over again, but besides going like this far in, I would go like stop right here and then come back down. So things like this, you can sort of see it again, and I would definitely tell you and suggest to you that you would pencil this out over again. And I know I just spit a little bit. That was kind of weird. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoy the webcam. So let me know like what's going on. Am I gonna keep this thing? Do you guys like this thing? And do you guys, I don't know, Do you guys like me? I'm just saying. So yeah, thank you guys so very much for watching. I hope you guys had an incredibly great, awesome Thanksgiving. Hope you guys, I guess, are you guys on break yet? No, you're not yet. Like winter break and stuff like that. But anyway, I hope you guys, enjoy the holiday season. Enjoy like putting up your tree or something like that if you guys celebrate Christmas. Overall, thank you guys so very much for watching again. Just 200 likes on the video. Well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll just give you this. Like the secret down below might just be the PSD, or excuse me, not PSD this time, AI file of today's video here today. And yeah, drop a like. Let's try to hit like 300 views. Like 300 views. Yeah, let's try to hit 300 views. 300 likes on the video here today. And yeah, hoodie fell off, but whatever. All right, so I'll talk to you guys later. Cesso HQ out. Peace. Don't forget to keep smiling, stay positive, and stay freaking productive, guys. Later.